Cool. All right, so let me just share this, you guys. Welcome on. This is crazy what I'm about to show you. You ready? You ready for what I'm going to show you? Let me just present. We have 2 weeks left. Like, what in the world? Last night I was sitting on my couch and all of a sudden I text all the leadership of Grit and Grace and I was like, we have 2 weeks until the photo shoot. Like, where did that go? Put a 1 in the chat if that went by really, really fast for you, because for us, it's crazy. And now going back to like, what did you declare, right? What did you declare coming into this challenge? And what's happened in the last, 6 weeks, and what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So first, starting off this call, I invite everybody to close your eyes and just take a deep breath in and out and in and out. One more. And in. And with a sigh, out. And shake it out. Shake it out. I was talking to the leadership before. We always have a pre-call. And, I got very, very real with them and very real with what's in my heart right now. And I want to just preface this call with, we had something completely else on the agenda, but right now life is happening. And with life that's happening, we get to, I've been thinking about it over and over again. And I think the main purpose of this call, and I'm just going to be completely transparent, is one, motivation, right? We have 2 weeks till the end of this challenge, right? And we committed to something. And when you commit to something, you commit to what you're committed to versus how you feel. And I'm not disregarding how anybody feels right now. What I'm saying is I think right now, and this is my opinion, is that the world needs all of us to love ourselves right now, first and foremost. And I've been in many conversations with Joe. You're going to hear a video from him right now, actually, about, what's important right now. And I asked the girls, now what? Right? So this whole, this thing is happening, right? It's huge. I know for one, it's hit me massively. And put a 1 in the chat if you've thought about it a lot this week, because, I'm talking about the protests that are going on. I'm talking about George Floyd. I'm talking about everything that's happening. And he said, I think that the biggest thing is if you hate yourself, you can't love your neighbor. If you have hurt in your heart, and Jen's going to touch on this more, then you're going to hurt others, right? And to take responsibility and acknowledgement of where I add to this personally and where I add to the solution. And when I say add to this, even as a wife of an African-American male, I have judgments in my heart. I know that walking around. And so where in my heart can I heal? And what a better place than Grit and Grace? Where what we are is a possibility. This community is a possibility. To the square to the left of you, to the square to the right with you, you don't know what they've been through. We don't know. A lot of times on Telegram, you don't know what race, what age, what anything, right? What job. We have police officers in our chat. Thank you for your service. We have all walks of life, and we don't know that. All we know is our spirits. All we know is our hearts. All we know is that we are stronger together, and that is what is possible. What is possible is the love that we feel in the chat, the safety we feel in the chat, the community that we feel in the chat. And how amazing if we focused our energy on creating that in every community in our lives. Every heart we come across, our jobs, our families. I know I've had a lot of issues with family, right? And so now it's time for people like us, communities like us, to come together in love and possibility, positivity, what can be. So I just wanted to start with that. It's going to be a very casual call. I want people to share. So start thinking in your mind, like, do you have questions? Like, now what? You know, do you have things that you want to say? Have you been feeling some sort of way? And maybe we can support each other. And also maybe goals for these next 2 weeks. I'm losing 5 pounds these next 2 weeks, like declared, done. So with that said, I'm going to share a video. It's a 6-minute video from Joe. He had a lot to say this week. And I'm just so excited to see all your faces, honestly. I've been waiting for this all day. Put a 1 in the chat if you have been waiting for this all day. I'm like, just get me to my positive bubble. I just want to be with my girls. Okay. Who can see Joe? Raise your hand. Jen, can you see Joe? Okay, great. Cool.
Happy Monday, ladies. Happy week number 7. Coach Joe here. Just want to first acknowledge you for making it another week. 2, I want to acknowledge you for investing in you. 3, I want to acknowledge you for investing in you. 4, I want to acknowledge you for investing in you. The reason I want to emphasize that is because we have so much going on in our world right now. A lot of energy, let's put it that way. A lot of energy of negativity, heaviness, hate. Negativity, heaviness, hate. Let me just put that energy over there. A lot of energy of love, connectedness, collaboration, passion. And so inside of that, investing in yourself, inside of all this going on, take away the names, take away everything that's happening, take away and look at the planet from a energetic, some of you who may be connected in that energy and experience of a spiritual perspective. There's 2 different energies at play here. There's one that is of death. There is one that is of life. Your consciousness, how you're choosing to operate here, is feeding one of those energies. So inside of that, invest in yourself does one thing, is it improves how you feel about yourself. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, so when you think about yourself, you have a positive vibration. That positive feeling goes into a bucket on the planet. It goes into the positive, loving bucket, loving yourself. If you can love yourself deeper, then you can love others deeper. If you're not investing in yourself, if you're waking up feeling discouraged, feeling broken down, feeling hurt, feeling like you're stuck, it's going into a bucket. What you see right now is the buckets of our planet spilling over so we can see what color the water was in people's heart. And it's alarming. For some, it's I already knew that. And for some, it's holy moly, where am I at? I'm going to say from my own experience. I was looking for the eject button. I went under bed. I was like, where is the eject button to get off of this ride called planet Earth? I was going to take my wife with me. But inside of that, acknowledging you for being here. And I'm acknowledging this community because this community is triple fold. Crazy what the name was before you started. Investing in yourself to be more emotionally aware, to feel better in your body, to have a more positive conversation about your life so you can go out into the world and create that. Without you saying anything, you're building a better planet without knowing it. So with that said, if it's the opposite way, if it's the negativity, the waking up heavy, that bleeds into being snappy, getting quickly fired up, getting quickly emotionally, abused or connected to your outward stimulus so that it says that you're being emotionally hard or you need to guard yourself. And that spills over into a reactive process that usually spills into the negative bucket. So inside of tonight, I'm acknowledging you for investing in the positive bucket of the planet, because as a community, as humanity, as a planet, we drink from the water of the bucket that is most abundant. If we have more abundant negativity, we got a negative planet, and that's what we drink from energetically, spiritually. If we're pouring into the positive bucket and we have more positivity, then that's what we drink from. The man has a great quote: I only have to be right 51% of the time. If 51% of the planet is pouring into that positive bucket over time, The good water washes out the bad. So I'm acknowledging you for being a part of this community. I'm acknowledging you for pouring in a life-giving bucket. A great quote somebody said last week: people are using their opinions as weapons right now on social media. And so as we're talking about buckets and which one are you feeding, I'm going to invite you tonight to think about, with your social media, with your conversations, which bucket are you feeding? We get to stand for a powerful planet. I'm kind of the avatar of the storyline of what sparked all of this. And I'm feeding the loving bucket. I'm feeding the everybody gets to win bucket. I'm feeding the if you lose, I lose bucket. And I'm the one who's supposed to be feeding, I could be feeding the me bucket, but I'm feeding the we bucket, because underneath this skin that is only designated based on region is the whole same being. And if you take it to quantum physics, energetically, we're exactly the same. And so I'm feeding the we. And so I acknowledge you for being in this group, for investing in yourself without knowing it, invested in the we bucket. And as you go throughout your night, and as you go throughout every day, and we are not out of this, this is just beginning, but we are conscious of it now. And from that conscious level, we can decide what bucket we invest in. So I'm inviting you to invest more in yourself, so you have more love in yourself. So that little voice that tells you all the negative stuff that makes you react into the negative bucket, you hear it even clearer sooner that it's a lie, and that you are beautiful, you are powerful, you are loved, you are magical, and you pour into that bucket of weed until we drown that voice out. So acknowledging you, the more you love you, you raise your consciousness, and the more you can love other people. We can only love, we can only operate to the level of our inner awareness. And so all of that hate, the negativity you see, that's the pain that's happening inside of that heart. And that's sad. So sending love, power, keep crushing it. Sid, anything happening to an app, let me know. Jess has been on top of me to make sure I get it squared away as we learn how to migrate Grit and Grace with JLC, with simplicity and no blips, no slips, no jumps, no bumps, but sending love out to you tonight, acknowledging you all, each and every one of you. Kill it this week.
Incredible. Mind blown. I never watched those before. You guys see them, and just, I've definitely been the snappy, angry, because for me personally, this is a huge wake-up call for me, right? And so I'm like, Joe, why aren't you angrier? And he's like, well, this isn't new to me, first off. Second off, I can choose to be angry and then have hate in my heart, or I can choose to love and continue living a grateful, loving life. And so he lives that every day, man. He's awesome. I'm going to pass it over to Jenny, and we're going to open up the conversation. And move forward powerfully, arms locked, motivated, and ready to finish out this challenge. How better, like, we did not know naming this challenge what it was actually going to mean, but man, together we stand. Like, let's go, ladies. I love you all so much. I'm so grateful for our positive bubble. So Jenny, over to you.
Hey ladies, that was really powerful what Joe shared, and it's almost funny, and it's almost against the grain to see and hear it coming from him. Because as he said, he's the avatar of what everyone is talking about and what everyone is thinking about. And so for me, when all of this started, me and Amanda have had many, many talks about it. And so I just really want to share my heart, and I want to share what I've learned and where I am today. And I just encourage you to really listen and allow what I say to you to seep into your heart and into your mind, and allow it to change what it needs to change and move what needs to be moved, so that you can be who you were created to be. And so for me, I feel like when everything started, as Joe said, Amanda was mind blown, and I was like, what? This has always been going on. This has always happened, So I, unlike Joe, obviously I'm not African American, but I am Hispanic. And so I've dealt with these issues my entire life. And so some people will look at it and say how, where, when, whatever. But I've dealt with it my whole life. And so for me, it was always something that I just knew was there. And so when everything really started, I started searching my heart, because we hear so often, especially right now, I'm not a racist. I don't think about racism. I don't operate that way. I have Black friends. I have a Black, worker. I have a white worker. I have this, I have that. And because of it, what we do when we think that way, and how we position ourselves, is to place ourselves in a space that says, I'm okay. And this is what's been happening. And this is what has always happened, because everyone walks around thinking they're okay. However, the reality is that deep down in a lot of our hearts, and I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying in a good majority of our hearts, we're not okay. But we have never been willing enough to say, wait a minute, I'm not okay. And I have issues and I need to deal with them. And so for me, when it all started, I'm the opposite of what so many people are fighting now. So I use this example for Amanda. Where I grew up, I grew up in, what we would call the ghetto, or in the projects. And so for me, my life has always been, if I was walking down the street and I saw a bunch of Black guys walking down the street, and I'm going to use these terminologies just because it's easier, and this is what people are saying now. So I don't want anybody to get offended by the way that I'm using these terms. But if I were to say that I saw 3 or 4 Black guys walking down the street on the same side of the street, I would be okay to continue walking right through them with no problem. It wouldn't bother me. But on the flip side of that, for me, if we flip that and I saw 3 white guys, big brawly white guys with beards and tattoos and whatever, coming down the same street, I would question. And I would probably cross over to the other side of the street, because from my situations in my life, I've grown accustomed to know that that would not be a good situation for me. And so although I wouldn't say that I was racist, the more that I thought about it, it was like, I am, in a sense, on the flip side. Because I'm okay being around Black guys or Black women or Black people. However, I'm not always as comfortable doing that when it flips and I'm around white people or white women or white men or whatever you want to call it. And so I had to really question myself and say to myself, then I'm no different than the white lady who has a problem with a Black man. Because the reality is, this isn't, and my daughter laughs at me because she says it's wrong of me to say it's not a color thing, because to me it's not black, white, green, purple, orange, yellow. It's a humanity thing. And if I have a problem, I can't walk and say that I love myself and I love people, but yet still harbor something in my heart against a particular skin tone or race, because then I'm no different. Then I'm no different than what people are out here fighting for. And although I'm married to a Black man, and although I have Black children, how can I say that I love them, but yet I don't love all races? Or somewhere deep in my heart, I feel something towards a particular race. So I had to question myself. And that was my reality. And so what I had to do from there was I had to then, I pray, I believe in God. And so I pray, and I had to get by myself, and I had to say, Lord, show me where I'm wrong, and show me why I feel those feelings. Show me where in situations that I operate in that way, because that's not how I want to operate, and that's not how I want to think, and that's not how I want to raise my children or instill in my children to function and flow. Because my personal belief is the only way that this is going to stop or start to change is if we each individually start searching ourselves, and we start getting real raw and real honest and real truthful with ourselves first and foremost, to say, where am I thinking wrong? Where am I feeling wrong? And then why am I feeling that way? Why am I thinking that way? What caused me to feel that way? What caused me to think that way? And how do I rectify that? And I'm willing to say, I'm willing to do that work. I'm willing to say, I've been wrong, I've thought wrong, and I want to change that because I don't want this to continue this way. I don't want, me to have grandchildren and for me to fear for their lives because they're out there. Because the reality is that could have been my husband, that could have been my sons. I think it's sad that I have to instill in my sons that when you get pulled over, when this happens, and it's not even like pulled over, but when you are in this type of situation, this is how you get to handle it. Because the reality is I want you to come home at night. People looking at my boys don't know that they're sweethearts, that they're loving and they're caring and that they wouldn't hurt a soul. They don't know that looking at them. And if they're operating in hurt or anger or frustration, they're just looking at them as another Black kid or another Black man. And that's where we get to position ourselves so that we can be whole and we can be right, so that we can instill that then in our children. Because as we all know, children aren't grown to know or aren't born to know the difference between the different races. That's something that's taught. And whether or not we actually physically speak it out of our mouths, or they watch our reaction, they watch our statements, they watch how we handle ourselves, that is still teaching them. And so, Amanda and I were talking, and it was like, if we were walking down the street and we're holding our children's hand, and even though we didn't say, this is a scary situation right now, and I'm scared for you and for me, but I grab my child's hand and I squeeze it real hard and I pull them real close to me, what is that telling my child? That's telling my 2-year-old or my 1-year-old that when we're in these situations, it's a scary situation and we need to have that fear. We may not even realize we're doing that. And so it's having that conversation with ourselves first and foremost to say, I want to be mindful of that. I want to go back to my children and say, hey, I may have made remarks. I may have handled myself inappropriately. I realize I may have done things that may have caused you to look at certain people a different way. And so I want to have these conversations with you. And I want to say, first and foremost, I'm sorry. Forgive me for doing that. And then how can we move forward from now so that you don't continue to feel that way, so that you don't continue to look at things that way. And so that when they then have children, they remove those situations and scenarios from their mindset so they're not instilling that then into their children. And that's how we begin, and that's my personal feeling of how we begin to heal, first and foremost, ourselves, and then change those situations around us. So Amanda asked, what now? Well, I feel like the what now is we work on us first. And then I go to my surroundings. So my surroundings is my household, and who lives in my household, and how do I help them to heal themselves, and how do I help them to recognize and realize the things that have been wrong, the things that have been right, and how we fix those things that are wrong, and how do we fix those things that are right, and how are we more cautious of those things. And so it's not instilling more hate, it's not instilling more anger or frustration. And so a lot of people are flipping this thing to cops against this race or that race, or this race or that race against cops. And it's beyond that. It's a humanity thing. And if we can look at what has happened and where we are today and not recognize that it's a love versus hate, it's a fear versus faith situation, then we are really walking around like saying, nope, I only see part of it. Nope, I only see this half of it. Nope, I only see that half of it. It's an overall situation. And that's where we get to start fixing ourselves. And with that, like Joe said, pouring into that bucket of love till that starts overflowing. And looking at that bucket of frustration or that bucket of fear or that bucket of faith and saying, what else do I need to pour in here? What do I need to dump out of here? And how do I do those things in my life first and foremost, and then into the lives around me? And then once we do those things, then we can say, I healed myself. And I started with myself. And if everyone is that's on here, we have 40 women on here, if everyone does that with ourselves first and foremost, and then in our surroundings and in our children and our families, then we begin to heal as a whole, and then we can function, and then we can flow properly and be and go and do all the things that we were created to do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jenny. Who got something from that? Put a 1 in the chat. So I basically start with yourself and have that hard conversation with yourself and fill in up your bucket and then fill in up the positivity bucket. It's, yeah, so good, Jenny. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass it over to Mandy. We're going to take some shares, guys. So Mandy, where are you at?
Hi, I'm right here. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. I first, as always, acknowledge each and every one of you for being on this call tonight. I acknowledge you for being open and vulnerable, for supporting each other, through these times that we're going through. We're going through some incredible movements, and I don't even have words, to be honest. I'm just so grateful to be a part of this community where we can all kind of lean on each other and support each other, with whatever each of us is particularly going through, because obviously we're all going through different things. And I just love you all, and I just needed to get that out. That being said, I'll share really quick. So as far as self-love and pouring into me, something that I'm going to do, and I started yesterday, actually. I realized that I need to do things for myself, and something that I love to do is I love to run. I know, sounds crazy, who likes to run, but I do. And it's a time that, and Stephanie always, jokes with me when I go running and don't invite her, but sometimes you get to just go run, alone. And sometimes I love running alone because it's just my time to kind of, be with myself and clear my head or think about things. It's, it could go either way. Sometimes I think about all kinds of things when I run, and it's incredible. And other times I just think about nothing, and it's just peaceful, and it's just me with myself looking at the beautiful scenery around me no matter where I'm running. So I've decided I'm going to run every single day, no matter if it's, I did 5 miles yesterday, I just ran a quick 2 miles today, even if it's just 1 mile a day, just something to give myself that time with myself, doing something that I love to help pour into me. That's my promise to myself, and I'm definitely not going to break that. So enough of me. I want to hear from anyone who is open and wants to share. If you feel it on your heart, go ahead and unmute. This is obviously, as you know, a safe space. We are all here to love, love, love on each other. So I would absolutely love whoever is feeling pulled to share, go ahead and unmute yourself and talk to us.
So you were just talking about running, and yes, I did see that you ran without me today, and my feelings aren't hurt, don't worry. But so in light of running and in light of taking care of ourselves, part of like that for me is like pushing myself, whether it be in my workouts or that. And this week on Friday with Julia, who I don't know if she fully said yes yet, but I decided it and declared it that she did. So me and Julia, we are running 8.46 miles together on Friday, and it's going to be great. And I've never ran that far. But they're the first time for everything. And I can't see Julia's face because she's on the other screen, but I hope she's thrilled that I took that as a firm yes. So that is, stay tuned for that win for me and Julia on Friday.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Go ahead, girl.
Okay. I feel pulled to say to everybody, just keep in mind the way that you talk to yourself, or the things that you say in your mind that other people may not hear, but sometimes you may feel a certain way or make a decision about something important, but you kind of talk yourself out of it, or you choose to look at it in a light that doesn't really benefit you. I know that sometimes I do it to myself. So I know that in these times, it's kind of hard to stay positive when you're surrounded by so many things that kind of pull you out of what you're trying to force yourself into. But just a message to everybody: be very, very mindful of the words that you choose to use when you're speaking about yourself, when you're thinking about what you want to do, because it makes a huge difference in how things play out in general. Because mindset is everything. What you put out, you get back. So if you put out negative, that's kind of what everybody feels, and that's what you're going to get back. So that's just my message. Be very mindful of the word choices that you use.
Girl, language is everything. You know, how you speak out loud, how you speak to yourself. It's so important, and it has such an impact. So happy that you mentioned that. Thank you so much for that. Also, I didn't comment after Steph was done talking because I was in the middle of typing in the chat that I will run I will run that also at some point, not on Friday because I work all day, but I'm promising to run that also with you guys at some point. That's incredible. All right. Maybe let's take like one more and then we'll get into slides, or two more, whatever. If you're feeling pulled, please unmute yourselves. I want to hear from you.
Sabrina, you want to go?
Oh my God, I was literally going to say what you told me today. That is so wild. Go ahead.
Go first. It'll probably make me talk more. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was actually talking to Jazz today while we were working, and it was my first day working, so I was so thrilled. But I was talking to her, and it was kind of piggybacking off of what someone said before. And Jazz was just basically saying stuff like, if you speak like about fear and like whether it's Corona or like whatever it is, you're going to attract it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of that before. And I'm so scared of everything. And like now after she said that, I'm like, I literally think I'm so scared of everything. Like even talking right now, like I'm shaking, like, but I don't want to attract that. So I feel like we have to like low key just start getting into things that make us fearful and change that to being fearless. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, that part. Ooh, girl, that's powerful. That is powerful right there, Jazz. You might as well take it from here if that's what you were telling her, because that is so powerful. End us off with your share, and then we'll get into slides.
Thank you. It's so funny that she says that I taught her that, because Amanda taught me that. So if we just all keep putting it on each other, then eventually we'll all feel the same way. But with all the things that we were talking about, I was just really thinking about how since I got into this community, I was kind of taught to look at people for what they were taught as a kid. Because as my mom was saying earlier, like what you teach your children is what they're going to go with as they get older. And I was saying to my dad the other day, he started yelling about something, and I was like, it's okay. I have learned now to look at people from their past experiences and why they are reacting in that way. Like I was telling him that he's yelling at me because he got yelled at when he was younger, and he was like, you just sound crazy. But seriously, I've been looking at every way that a person treats me. I look at, okay, so something, whether it's good or bad, something happened to them in order for them to reflect that on me, if that makes any sense. So if we start looking at people like it's not about me or what I'm doing or what I've been through, they're not paying attention to that. It's like they're reflecting how they feel inside on me. So I think if we look at things that way and start to pay attention to things that way, then it kind of gets me to be a little bit more sensitive with people. It gets me to look at like, okay, everybody's going through something. Everybody has a past. Everybody has things that they need to heal and work on. And when I look at that, there's not really a way that I could hate anybody, because I'm like, okay, they're the same as me. It's just we were told different things. We had different experiences. So, yeah.
That is huge, Jazz. And, it's true. You never know what someone is going through. You never know what they're currently going through, what they went through yesterday or last week or 10 years ago. You don't know. And, that's everything you said. I'm like, I have no words right now. I'm just like, okay, mic drop. Thank you for that. It's so powerful, especially in the times and what we're going through. So the more that we can pour into ourselves and self-love and heal our hearts, to then, you know, then we can fill our cup, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. So we get to fill our own cups to then be able to overflow it and pour into others, right? All right, so thank you all. I'm going to pass it off to Amanda. We're going to speed through these slides real quick. Thank you all for staying on. We respect your time, so we're going to get through this real quick. Amanda, take it away. I love you all.
Thank you for everybody that shared. I heard compassion from Jazz, right? And language from Sabrina, like what you say to yourself from Danica. Like, it is so powerful. And yes, Sabrina, I am courageous. I am strong. I am powerful. I am capable. Affirm it. A lot of times the popular things people say now, or you know, like, you know how you're like, I can't. You know how you say that? It's like, it's affirming, and I do it. It's affirming that I can't, right? So it's like, you know, and I always tell Jazz, like, cancel. I can, I will, and I must. Right? So it's affirming the opposite of whatever you said. And it's okay. It doesn't, thank God it doesn't manifest right away, because that'd be real scary.
Can I share something real quick? Hold on.
Yeah.
Only because it works so well with Jazz. What she used to do is she used to wear like a rubber band or a hair tie on her wrist. And every time she would say, oh my God, I'm so scared. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Oh my God, this. She would take it and pop it so that it would like strike something on her, so that it would click in her that when she went to say it, that it was like, oh shoot, that's gonna hurt to say that. Like, I shouldn't be saying that. So if that's something that you deal with, then maybe you want to try that. Like, put something on your wrist, and whenever you catch yourself that you just said something negative about yourself, or you had a negative thought about yourself, or you said something that goes against what you know in your heart of hearts to be true for yourself, snap it so that it snaps back at you, and it kind of stings a little bit so that it'll be in your head.
You're going to hear snap at all of our nutrition clubs. You're going to hear like snap. I love that idea. All right, you guys, this week is self-care week. Do something for you. We have been hearing buckets and filling cups and all of this stuff. It's like, you will experience what is overflowing, right? So a couple things to do for self-care: mint mask, take a bath, meditate, go for a run by yourself. Have your shakes and tea, because you will mentally feel better. I heard that from Terry today. I mentally feel better. It's like, if you feel better, it's going to be good for everybody, right? So really take this next week and fill up your cup. Start writing. What can you do to fill up your cup? Journal prompt. Take a picture of this. What in you will help give you the most significant outcome to finish this journey off strong? You've got 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks. It's sprint to the finish line, all right? So we are going to focus on positivity, love, and what we can give to this world, right? We are the chance. If there's a chance, it's our community like this, yeah? And I believe there's a chance. I said, Keisha and I were talking today, and I said, we're not going to give up, so we get to be committed, yeah? So what can you do to fill your self-love bucket? Right? What can you do? Think of one thing. I know for me, I'm going to take a bath. I haven't taken a bath since I moved to my new house. Got to do that. Hold me accountable. All right. So focus, tighten up. Where can you give a little bit more? Where can you work out a little bit harder? Where can you take your other shake? When can you take, you know, how much more love can you give? How many more eye contacts and smiles can you give? How much more journaling can you do? Meditating can you do? Praying can you do? Baths for me. Where can you tighten up? Immediate action. After this chat, I know we've talked about a lot, but after this call, head over to Telegram, and I want you to post your 2-week goals. We are honing it in. Lord, have we been through a lot this challenge. We have gone through it. Just a couple things, right? A couple things happened. No big deal, right? Just a couple things. But how are you committed to finishing for you? How are you going to finish for you? Think about it right now. I want everybody to stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. What can you do in the next 2 weeks for you to finish strong? I'm committed to 5 pounds. I'm losing 5 pounds because I know I gained it over quarantine. Yeah. Cool. All right. Save the date. we are going to have such a good time. So next week is our last call. Y'all better be on it. I'm so proud of you guys for finishing and continuing to stick with us. Every Monday at 7:30. So next week, 7:30, we are having our finishing call. And then June 20th, we're going to Jenny's house. Okay. Jenny's house is so much fun. It's also Jazz's house. You didn't know. We're going to have a photo shoot barbecue party. Okay. So because of everything that's, not a lot of people are taking groups right now, so we were kind of banging our heads against the wall, and then I was sitting out on Jenny's patio, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a perfect house for a big old party. And she said yes right away, and I just love that about her. We are wearing yellow. Okay, so get your yellow outfits. Who's weird about wearing yellow? I know I am. Don't worry. Just, you're going to wear it. We're going to feel amazing, and we're going to be confident. There's going to be sunflowers. It's going to be so much fun. Balloons, barbecue, hanging out with a photo shoot going on, hair, makeup done. We're going to give you more specifics on that. There's gifts, and it's just going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. So, again, and I just want to see all of your faces. You are beautiful. You matter. You are the change that this world needs. You are the change that this world needs. If it's to be, it's up to me. And we are so strong together. And I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I don't know where I'd be without you during all of this. So I'm going to unmute everybody. Please go in the chat and tell us what you're going to do for self-love, because I'm going to take all your ideas and I'm going to just shower myself with love this week. Let me oh no, Mandy, you get to unmute everybody.
I unmuted myself.
Of course you did.
Can she do it?
Can you do it?
Mandy, she's crying. She can't do it.
Everybody unmute yourself and say one thing you're grateful for. I love you guys.
Love you all.
See you all.
Bye.
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 Bye, y'all.